Up and at 'em, everyone, and thank you for joining us right here on Wake Up Worcester. Coming up a little bit later on in this half hour, Joanne Morency of Commerce Bank will be joining us, and we'll be talking a little bit about how is it that some people always seem to have some cash at this time of the year and the rest of us sort of reaching for the credit cards. Is that a good thing for us to be doing? Right now, though, let's talk about UMass Medical School. Jim Leary stopping by, and thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Hank.
So I understand some new plans. I mean, there's always something that seems happening. Even in this tough economy, you guys seem to be expanding. You're going to be creating some new jobs in the area, which is wonderful. What is the Sherman Center?
Sherman Center is going to be our new center, which will house what we're calling the Advanced Therapeutics Cluster, as well as some classroom space. Let me step back and talk about what the Advanced Therapeutic Cluster is. And basically, it's a research building. It's going to be a massive research building, which focuses on three general areas of therapy or research. One being RNA research, excuse me, the other being stem cell, and the other being gene therapy, which all together we're calling the Advanced Therapeutic Cluster, or Advanced Therapeutic
And here
Center.
I thought it was all about studying my buddy Sherman Whitman, but no, this is very different. Okay, so this really is cutting edge, and one of the wonderful things is I mean, people should know that, I mean, right here in Worcester, cures for cancer, cures for so many things could be found right here in Central Mass.
Yeah, absolutely, and as a result of building the center, as well as some of the other buildings that we've constructed in recent years, and the nature of some of the faculty that we've already attracted, we've really created this synergy where there are researchers all over the country and literally all over the world who are now looking to UMass Medical School, and many of them are moving here. So we've attracted faculty from places like the University of Pennsylvania, Dartmouth, a place called Harvard. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's down the road.
Just down the road, yeah.
You know, National Institutes of Health and a number of others who are really looking at UMass and saying, this is a place where we want to be, and this is a place where in many of their cases, we can achieve the dream.
That had to have been part of a master plan. I mean, at some point, someone had to decide that this is where you're going to put the resources and put the dollars. And as I said, I mean, anybody, of course, who drives down Route 9, it just continues to grow and is amazing.
Oh, absolutely, and it is part of a larger plan. I mean, what has happened with UMass Medical School is that our success has led to more success, to more success, to more success. And as a result, we keep building. And it is one of those things where it's a sustainable and it's a well-planned type of improvement and type of expansion. But we really are just jumping ahead by leaps and bounds, and really are, I think, kind of seen in terms of medical schools and research centers as somewhat of the new kid on the block on the national scene, but as a real, not just up-and-comer, but literally a real player.
Right, and grabbing all of this momentum, as you point to. I think that does happen so often. I mean, I guess an analogy might be, I mean, you know, when you have a sports team. I mean, and you know, and schools will often put so many resources into that. Here, it seems to be that the same thing, only instead of, you know, going out and recruiting, you know, the best basketball player from a high school, what you're doing is you're going out and literally recruiting the best scientists and doctors in the world to come to UMass Medical.
We really are, and the way that we're doing it is literally just by the work that we're doing and the work that our research is doing and the plans that we have for the next 10 years or 20 years. Just by way of an example, one of the researchers who came over to us recently is a guy by the name of Bob Brown, who was a tenured chair at Harvard Medical School. Now, people don't leave those jobs.
Right.
I mean, that's
Exactly.
considered to be sort of the pinnacle,
Sure.
and you've achieved everything you wanted to achieve. When he came over, it's interesting, Chancellor Collins, who has been very instrumental in a lot of this growth, asked him, so what is it? You've made the decision to come to UMass Medical School and to leave a chair at Harvard. Why are you coming here? He literally put it in terms of the science, and this is a guy who has been working on ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, throughout his career. Says he has probably 15 years of productive research left, and he said, the place where I may be able to come up with a cure is UMass Medical School, and that's really a tribute to the
it certainly is.
There.
I mean, what do you think that starts to set that off? I mean, why is it that you begin to acquire this reputation? Is it hands-off? Is it that the people who you have attracted so far? Is it the money that is coming in, the facility itself?
It's a little bit of everything. As we build the facilities, it does attract researchers who want to have the very best facilities. That helps to attract the grant dollars. So it's interesting, as successful as we are, only 5% of our budget comes from a state appropriation. The rest of it essentially comes from other sources, and a large source is competitive grant funding, which a lot of that is from the National Institutes of Health. Other amounts come from some of the private foundations and the like. But as you build upon that, it creates those synergies within the science community. So one of the things that the scientists have talked about and in particular with the Sherman Center, is the idea that we're going to have scientists from these various areas, the RNA scientists, the stem cell scientists, the gene therapy scientists, working together in one building. And they're working in a place where there's also clinical applications, some of the work that they're doing over on the hospital side. And the idea is, as they're in the building together, their contacts with each other aren't incidental. They're very regular and ongoing. And as they describe it, some of the greatest research breakthroughs have come about as a result of some sort of incidental contact between researchers. With this, by virtue of putting them all together, you can look at one disease, let's say diabetes or cancer, whatever the case is, and look at 3 different pathways to try to either cure or treat that disease. And so for a researcher who's working on Lou Gehrig's, maybe stem cell works, maybe it doesn't. Maybe gene therapy works, maybe it doesn't. And if neither of those work, maybe RNAi research works. And so they can approach it from each different discipline.
And it's interesting talking about them being all together and having some of this incidental contact. I mean, I think that many of us as lay people, I mean, you know, when I think of scientists and the scientific research, you think of them as a very solitary existence. You think of them, you know, as perhaps being territorial and not wanting to share sometimes. And yet here it seems as if, you know, the cure could come because, oh, what are you doing? Oh, interesting.
Exactly. And it's that's something that the scientists have really cited, is that idea. I think educationally, as they go through their education and they work on their PhD dissertation, they present and all that, it is to a certain degree in isolation. That's one person doing the bulk of the work. But as they describe it, once they get out into the field and start doing the real basic research in a lab, it's a very collaborative effort, and they're really looking to build upon what others are doing and to have that interaction with others.
Now, because you're talking about the synergy, UMass Medical, UMass Memorial, I mean, how is it all connected? We might think when we drive there that everything is connected. Is it?
Exactly. And I always describe it, to the outside world, we're all one and the same. There are differences in the sense UMass Medical School is the school itself, and we have, we call a number of different enterprise operations under our umbrella. But we're obviously very closely linked with UMass Memorial. In terms of history, we were one and the same until 1998, when, through an act of the legislature, the two sort of broke apart, and UMass Hospital merged with the Memorial Hospital System. So that's why you now have UMass Memorial Hospital System. But the reality is they're our largest teaching partner, our largest clinical partner. When it comes to our faculty on the medical school side, the majority of them are on staff at UMass Memorial. So we're very closely aligned, and we're located on the same campus. The UMass Memorial University campus is sort of their flagship campus. And so we're very joined at the hip, and our success is theirs, and vice versa.
Coming up, we want to talk much more about UMass Medical School. We also want to talk about the economic impact that the medical school has right here in central Massachusetts. Still to come on Wake Up Worcester.